The title for today's podcast is Look as Good as You feel as good as you look. But actually, what I want to do is first start with a story about a Christmas party. This is the Stylish Wellness Podcast with me, Sarah Banks. So back a long time ago, when I was quite young, a young adult woman, I would say, I went to this party, New Year's Eve party, that was hosted by some parents of a school friend of mine. And the father, was a self-made man. He had made a lot of money. He was in manufacturing. I can't remember what they manufactured. They had this beautiful home and they had every conceivable luxury. And my friend's mother was incredibly well dressed and she had a very distinct style of her own, and she always looked amazing. Anyway, so I went for this party, very excited, all dressed up. It was a black tie do. All the girls we were all in long dresses, had our hair done, everything, it was amazing. And my friend's mother was downstairs greeting guests when we arrived, and she looked really, really amazing. And I remember thinking, I would just love to have your life and to be you. I can remember quite consciously feeling that and thinking that. And anyway, that was just sort of that, really. And, we were all in agreement that they had an amazing life and an amazing house, and weren't the children lucky? Our friend, wasn't she lucky to have that environment and everything? And it was only when this came to my mind when I was out walking the dogs just recently, the whole scenario of me going to the party and seeing my friend's mother and her looking so amazing and everything. But what I realized is I didn't want to be her. What I wanted was to feel like I thought she might be feeling. So even though she was in beautiful clothes, which obviously I'd like to wear, and had a beautiful house, which obviously I'd love to live in, and all of that, what I think, when looking back, what I think I actually wanted was the feeling of what I thought it must be like to be her. And that made me think how, at this time of year we go to parties and we see other people's lives, and perhaps sometimes we're a bit envious, or because they've got such a beautiful house or such a beautiful lifestyle, or have some sort of luxury in their life that we don't have. Or we go to somebody's house and they just seem to have this simplicity that we don't have, or a family life that we don't have, or whatever it is. And thinking back to this New Year's Eve party that I went to, and wanting in that moment to actually experience the feeling of what I thought it would be like to be my friend's mother, made me realize that actually quite often when we look at somebody and we think, gosh, you're so well dressed, I'd love to have a wardrobe like you. Gosh, your life is so organized. I'd love to have an organized life like you. What we actually want is not that life itself, but what we want is the feeling of that life. Because I think that's what we're all searching for. We're not necessarily searching for luxury, but we're searching for the feeling of luxury. And we're not necessarily searching for a lot of money, but we're searching for the feeling of a lot of money. And then that reminded me of when I was doing life coaching a few years ago. We had a whole section on money. We had a whole module on money. And in the workshop that we were doing, it was explained to us something very interesting, which is that actually money doesn't make us feel anything, but it's the thought of money that makes us feel something. And we know that this is true because in your bank account right now, you have a certain amount of money, but you can't touch that because it's in your bank account, right? And you're not sitting in your bank account. Your bank account is away from where you are. But if I told you right now that you had £1 million or $1 million in your bank account, and that actually for real it was there, it would make you feel really excited, wouldn't it? You think, well, that's so fantastic. But actually, you're not experiencing the money. You're just experiencing the thought of the money. And you're thinking, what would I do with it? And how exciting. And it would give me freedom. And I could buy things for my family. And we could go on amazing holidays and all of that. So your emotions are based on the feeling that the money is giving you, not the money itself. So back to clothes. And when we go to parties at this time of year and we walk into a room and there is our best friend and she looks absolutely stunning and, you know, her body is amazing. She works out, she spends time on her appearance that you don't seem to be able to find. And she has amazing clothes and she searches out little boutiques and unknown designers and has a really individual wardrobe. And you walk in and you see your friend and she's in an amazing dress and her hair is just beautiful and her body is just amazing and all of that. And in that moment, you're slightly downhearted. Or you think, gosh, I'd just so love to be her. Like, I'd just like to translate everything in my life and exchange it for her life. But actually what you want is the experience of feeling like her. Because what you're thinking in that moment is, it must be so amazing to be her. It must be so amazing to feel like her because she looks amazing. She feels amazing. She looks amazing. Her body is amazing. She must feel amazing. And I think this is a really interesting concept because back to the title of the podcast, look as good as you feel as good as you look. The implication, therefore, is that you don't need to wait on anything to either look amazing or to feel amazing. So this holiday season, if you're thinking, I can't possibly enjoy myself because I don't have the right clothes to wear, or I feel overweight, or I'm really exhausted, or whatever any of those emotions are that you're feeling that might be negative and not very holiday-like, then remember that it all comes from a feeling. How do you want to feel? And if you want to feel like your amazing girlfriend who has got a toned body and this amazing wardrobe and a wonderful life, you can feel like her immediately. And that can change everything about how you feel about yourself and how you feel about your life in general. Do you see what I'm saying? Because what I'm saying is you don't need to wait on anything to have the feeling that you want, because you're totally in control of your feelings and you can decide which feeling you want. Oh, that reminds me of back when I was doing life coaching. It was almost explained to me like somebody going round at a party with a tray of hors d'oeuvres. And all those hors d'oeuvres are emotions. And you can just choose the one you want. And there's this waiter coming round. He's like, hors d'oeuvre, hors d'oeuvre, hors d'oeuvre. And you pick the feeling you want. So I think in terms of look as good as you feel as good as you look, I want to say that if you're approaching the holiday and party season with any form of trepidation, that you have the power in your mind to decide right now how you want to feel. And then when you have decided how you want to feel, that is going to affect everything else. It's going to affect the clothes that you choose to wear, regardless of whether you've got a limited wardrobe, limited budget, or whatever. But for example, if you said, so let's go back to the example of my friend's mother. So in that moment when I wanted to feel like the experience of being her, I wanted that experience of what I thought it felt like to be her. And I keep on saying what I thought it felt like to be her, because of course we don't know what someone else is feeling, do we? But what we're guessing from the outside is, gosh, it must be so amazing to be her. It must feel like this, right? So I think in that moment, the way that I thought that she was feeling was in control of her life and directing her life and creating a beautiful life where she was at ease, even though she was really busy, that she was on top of everything and had the time and the space, mental space, to just enjoy the moment. That's how I thought she would be feeling. Of course, she might not have been feeling like that at all, but that's how I thought she would be feeling, and that's how I wanted to feel. So then that means that you can choose how you want to feel. So if you're going off to your Christmas party, or you've got a family celebration, or whatever it is, you can choose exactly how you want to feel. And it doesn't have to have any bearing on your reality at all if you don't want it to. So you could be going through a tricky time financially and you're slightly dreading Christmas because it's such an expensive time of year, which I totally understand. But you could decide that you want to feel luxurious and you want to feel elegant and sophisticated. Then once you decide that, you just turn your feelings towards feeling like that, and you find the evidence to support those feelings in what you choose. So if you decide you want to be luxurious and elegant and sophisticated, you will find clothes, you will do your hair, you will find shoes that support that. It's so amazing, really. I never thought that was real. I always thought that was a bit too woo for me. But then I realized that it was true just because of what was going on in my head and the life coaching that I've had and everything else that I've done in terms of thought work, that actually we decide how we want to feel, and that whenever we're envious or even jealous of someone else, how they look or the life that they've got, it's not that we're necessarily envious of that life itself. What we're envious of is the feeling, and what we want for ourselves is what we think that lifestyle, how we think that lifestyle would make us think. That's such a powerful, wonderful thing. So going back to look as good as you feel as good as you look, the two are interdependent, aren't they? It's a bit like what came first, the chicken or the egg? I mean, I always think that it's got to be the chicken, right? Because how could an egg hatch itself and it wouldn't, be kept warm or anything like that? But then where did the chicken come from? Anyway, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Which came first, the feeling good or the looking good? It can be either. So it doesn't matter what your situation is, you just need to pick which one you want to come first. So if you want the looking good to come first, then find something in your wardrobe that makes you feel amazing. So you put the outfit on that you look good in, and then it's going to make you feel good as well, even if you feel a bit down in the doldrums. Put it on, it lifts your spirits, and then off you go. And then you can do it the other way around if you want, which is the way that I've just described previously, which is you pick an emotion that you want to feel, and then based on that, you decide what you're going to wear. I think if you're indecisive in any way and haven't quite done anything like this before, I'd go first for wanting to feel better through your clothes. So find an outfit or a garment that makes you feel really good, that you feel really good in, and then put that on, see how you feel and see how that changes your decision making or changes your approach to life. So back to the title again of the podcast, which is Look as Good as You feel as good as you look. I suppose what I'm saying today, the message that I have for you today is twofold. Firstly, you're totally in control of how you look and how you feel. You're not at the mercy of anything. You're not at the mercy of your body or even your health. You can decide how you want to feel and how you want to look. It's a completely independent choice. It is not based on your external circumstances. And then secondly, as we approach the holiday and party season, just notice where your thoughts go when you see someone whose life you might like, or who have some aspect of their life that you admire, and try and work out in that moment what it is that you're thinking that it is that you want. Because it's my guess that it's going to be the feeling of whatever you're looking at rather than the thing itself. And that can really dictate how you live your life. So when I look back to my friend's mother and how I thought she would be feeling, that is exactly the feeling all those years later that I still want for my life. I want to be able to look good, feel good, and do it with ease. I don't want to feel like it's a struggle every day. I want, like, it would be the luxury of my life for that to be an easy thing. And there's no reason why that shouldn't be an easy thing. The easy thing being to live a life where I'm really beautifully dressed all the time, but I do it with ease. It's not done through frustration or beating myself up in any way. I hope that makes sense for you, because I think if somebody had said this to me before I realised it myself, I might not necessarily have understood what I was being told, because I always felt and I always thought that when I looked at somebody and liked something about them, that I liked that thing itself. I didn't realise that actually what I was enjoying was that feeling of how I would feel if I were in that situation of that other person. So I hope that you would be able to take this thought, if you hadn't considered it before, and consider it for yourself and see where you can adapt that into your life and take it with you. And I think maybe especially for this Christmas and holiday and party season, take it with you and know that there are going to be times when you walk into a place and you feel overawed by the situation that you're in, or you feel underdressed compared to people, or inadequate style-wise compared to other people. But just take with you that feeling that you get when you see somebody who you think has got it right. And don't worry that you might be jealous or envious. Get past those almost superficial level feelings and get down to the thought of what feeling do you think that person is embodying that you would love to have for yourself. And then you go out and create that feeling for yourself using your clothes and accessories and grooming and all of that to create that feeling that you want. And that's why looking good is feeling good and feeling good is looking good, because the two are intertwined and you don't have the one without the other. And they're as important as each other. It's not just all about somebody looks good and you want to look as good as her. Of course, that's a perfectly admirable thing to want to do, but it's also about the feeling. It's equally about the feeling. What emotions come up for you that you think that other person is embodying that you yourself would like to embody? So I hope, amazing women, that you found that useful or interesting or thought-provoking, and I hope that you were able to take it, that you are able to take it with you into your life and adapt it and use it for yourself in a really positive way to really learn to understand yourself and dress the best that you should for your personality, for your character, because you do truly understand yourself. And that is a great way to live life. To understand yourself and to be able to dress out of that identity is a really beautiful and wonderful thing. So that is what I have for you this week, amazing women. And I hope that wherever you are well. And I look forward to seeing you same place, same time next week. Bye for now.